Hello everyone, welcome to today's Facebook Live. I'm Chatu Alves from Auckland, New Zealand, and I'm so excited to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for joining in today, and we have an exciting section lineup, and I can't wait to dive into some amazing discussion with you all. So today we are diving into truly inspiring story about taking bold steps and embracing new opportunities. And I know many of you dream about exploring something new, stepping out of the 9 to 5 grind, or even building a life with more freedom and flexibility. So, today's guest has done just that, and her journey is nothing short of remarkable. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce Dr. Susie. She is a healthcare professional based in UK and also thrilling digital business coach. Her story is such a great example of how you can pivot from the traditional career into the world of digital entrepreneurship. So, Dr. Susie, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm so honored to have you here on my page. And we are so excited to hear your story.
Thanks.
So, could,
Thank you for inviting me. It's an absolute pleasure to be in your page. Thank you so much.
thank you, Doctor. So, could you start by telling us a bit about yourself and how you transitioned from being a doctor to becoming a digital entrepreneur?
Absolutely. It's a very common question anyway. So for those who don't know me and for my new followers and for benefit of Chatu's page, my name's Dr. Susie Jacob. I'm a business coach and a general practitioner by training and a digital entrepreneur by choice. And just like Chatu, I help busy rundown professionals achieve time and financial freedom by helping them start and scale an online business. So I live in the UK with my husband, who is a private chef by background. I because of the business, I've managed to retire him about 14 months into the business, and I also have a 16-year-old daughter. So that's the short and sweet version of my background. And and now into the transitioning into becoming a business coach. So for me, there were lots of things that actually added up, but I think the turning point for me would have been COVID, and the fact that during COVID, I was the only breadwinner. And it was an unfortunate stage where my husband was about to move into a new job, and that's when COVID started. So he was without a job, and we weren't funded by the government for something called the furlough scheme, where we would have got, at least if we were in employment, we would have got about 80% of our pay. So as you can imagine, and just to give a bit of background, as a private chef, my husband was earning almost par to what I was earning as a general practitioner. So if you can imagine half of your household income disappearing within a day. And then the fact that I had to go into work most days and see patients. Yes, there was a lot of things being done online at that time, but I was one of the GPs who were actually seeing patients, and I was seeing patients each time I was in. And it was a scary experience also, because a lot of people were dying, and we didn't know how the virus would affect us. There were lots of there was also a point where lots of Asian men were dying, and the last thing I wanted is to bring the virus home and my husband or my daughter gets infected and something bad was to happen to them. Or also the fact that it could have affected me and I would have got long COVID, and then I couldn't have pursued my career, and that would have been the end of things. For instance, we have a mortgage to pay, we have bills, finances, car, whatever, gas, electric, and who would be able to pay? You'd lose everything, isn't it? And that was a very, very scary thought for me. And that's when I started exploring things of how I could earn money in the side, while actually working as a general practitioner. Don't get me wrong, I love my profession, and at no point was I thinking of I have to completely stop it. Although you might not like your job and you just want to stop and want something in the side that will fund your lifestyle. But whatever your reasons are, whether you want to cut down your sessions or whether it is just just to have an extra buffer in case of emergencies. What I would have loved at the time of the pandemic was an option to say, you know what, I don't want to come in for work. I'm happy to work from home, and I'll see patients from home. But at that point in time, I couldn't, I didn't have that buffer, and I didn't have that confidence to change my contract in that manner. And that was what I was looking for. And now, if something was to happen, I have that buffer.
Yeah, that's truly inspiring, and I love hearing about you not only made such a big shift and found something that resonates so deeply with your passions. And I think a lot of people can relate to the challenges and rewards of making such a significant move. And let's move to the next question. I think you covered most of things for the next question as well. So, but just if you want to cover anything more, like the question is, what inspired you transition from a doctor to digital entrepreneur, and what makes this online business opportunity stand out from others?
Yeah, I just add a few more points. I've actually
Yeah.
touched on most of it. So, as I've mentioned, my journey started actually November 2020. There was a particular incident that happened in work, and I had to do 5 death certificates that particular day. Now, of course, more than 5 people in the world die a day. But as a doctor, at that time I was 16 years into the profession, and I've done maximum 2 a day or something. So I've never had to do 5 death certificates, and I had to call the coroner for about 2 or 3. So, and it was a half day at work, so it was a very traumatic experience for me. And I think any doctor or medical professional can relate to what I'm actually saying. It was really, really traumatic. And for me, that my journey started there. When I say my journey started there, you have to do your research, isn't it? I wanted something that I could do on the side with my job, because I love my job. I didn't want to quit my job. I'm not ready to quit my job. So I wanted something in the side. So I started researching what other doctors do, what other people do to earn on the side. So I was looking into things like shares, crypto, all those, even property and things like that. So I started doing some mentorship courses. So I did it with Christian entrepreneurs like Pedro Adeo. Then I went and did a Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi course, just to upskill, because at that point in time, I was like, I'm not good at anything. I only know how to be a doctor. I don't know how to be anything else. So, you have to upskill yourself, get a bit of idea about things. And then I was looking at what people do in general. So I found out like property was a very lucrative kind of thing. And I jumped into it. I did a mentorship program for a year in property. I had a bit of successes. But the thing about property, it's you can do it remotely also, but you need a lot of people in the background to do that. And when you're starting off, that might not be feasible to do, because you don't have a lot of things. So in the initial part of things, you need to be doing, whether it's going into the house, doing the handyman work and things like that. So for me, what it felt like was, it's like another job. And the other thing is, if I wanted to view a property, most of the estate agents here or realtors, they work from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. And as a typical GP, that's the hours I work. So I have taken annual leave to go and see some properties, close deals and things like that. And from what I was gathering is, I was using up a lot of my leave. That means I didn't have any downtime. And another thing was, it was not flexible. it was like any traditional business. You need to be there. It's not
Yeah.
very flexible. And yes, there will be a time when you make a lot of money, you can put systems in place. But when you start off, that is. And if you're working as a full-time GP, I found it really hard. And now, don't get me wrong, property is still a lucrative way of making money, but not for a person like myself, probably, who has to deal everything.
Mm.
And it's like having a shop. Is a restaurant, my husband's a private chef, so is a restaurant a good, depending on the place, and you'll have to do your research, it still can be a very profitable business, but it requires a lot of your time and effort, and it might take 5, 7, or even 10 years to actually kick off, isn't it? And
Yeah.
for me, I couldn't imagine having to work like that for another 5 to 10 years. While the difference with the online space is that it's flexible. You work, for me, when I started the business, I was working 5 to 6 days a week, anything between 9 to 12 hours. And I didn't have a lot of time. So for me, it will be pockets of time. I use 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, half an hour here. And, I can work anytime. That's why this is brilliant for shift workers. Like when you're taking your 3 o'clock 3 a.m. break or something, the business is global. You can still do your business, answering things and doing your business at that time during your breaks, isn't it? And that's what, and because of this business, I haven't taken actually any annual leave to do the business as such.
Exactly.
And that's the thing I love, because if you think I'm a busy professional, for me, I needed something that works around my lifestyle, not change my lifestyle to do it, because then that's like a third or fourth job, isn't it? And I already had a job. I was doing 3 separate roles. I'm still doing 3 separate roles. And, for me, I didn't want a fourth one. It didn't make sense, because I wanted something that would give me time and financial freedom from the get-go.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Doctor, for sharing that. I think a lot of people will relate to your story, and it's such a big decision to leave behind something secure for something new, and that isn't not easy. So now diving deeper into the process and starting new business venture, especially one in the digital space, can often come out with doubts and skepticism. So I know as a financial accountant, I have encountered my own share of concerns when considering new opportunities. So wondering if something might be too good to be true, or even questioning whether it's a pyramid or multi-level marketing scheme. So let's move to the next question. So I'm curious to know, did you ever have any skepticism about digital entrepreneurship, especially regarding pyramid or MLM scheme? And how did you overcome those doubts?
You have to do your research, and that's why our platform is excellent. We give you information bite size. You see the first part of what we have to offer, which is like the webinar, and if that's a concept, so what we do is social media marketing, and we are affiliated with companies that will give us a good commission when we make sales. So if you're happy with that concept, and what it tells, the webinar talks about the 3 pillars that's necessary to make a business successful. Now, if you're happy with that concept, you move to the next stage. And again, we offer all the information as bite size, and not everything together, getting yourself overwhelmed with. So when I was going through, I was doing my research. So I researched into the companies, I researched into the actual platform, and things like that. And the thing is, I had an open mind. I knew for a fact, I didn't want to be involved in any kind of pyramid scheme. One thing is, it is illegal to get involved in a pyramid scheme, and our business is taxable. So, and I could see people getting paying their tax and getting their tax return and things like that. Now, for me, well, if this was like a scam, or if it was not a legitimate business, you're not going to pay tax. Now, I've been into the business little over 2 years, and I've been filing my tax in and things like that for the business. So again, that is a proof that this is a very legitimate business. Now, there is a lot of negative connotations when it comes to multi-level marketing, and very genuine, because what happens is people get frustrated by the fact that people on top every time gets paid more than the actual person doing the sales. And in our business model, that's not the case. You are rewarded for your sales, so you are the one who gets paid first, and then only everyone else gets paid. And if you think of it, people are scared about things like network marketing and things like this, but you don't have to be scared, because at the end of the day, for you to grow and for you to come up, you can't work in silos. You need to have that network. And why do you need to have that network? Because there are people, like I get mentees, like there's every week some mentees coming in. I have about 2 years plus experience, and I'm a coach. So I can tell you things that you can avoid. So the mistakes you can avoid, so that you can reach your target and you can reach the that financial freedom quicker. Now, can you do it on your own? Of course you can do it on your own. The only thing is, it will, instead of taking 1 year, it might take 3 to 5 years. So is 1 year better or 3 to 5 years better? And how I look at it is, after you're paid, we are remunerated a bit for the efforts that we are doing it. And I think that is fair. Fair deal, like, because we are at the end of the day giving you some time, but at the end of the day also, you are the first one being paid for your efforts and for the sales that you make, unlike a pyramid and a typical MLM sort of scheme. And that was really, really different from the other models, because I have seen other models, and that was amazing. So that was actually intriguing. And I didn't, as a medical doctor also, if I tell people also, if a person goes into a cardiac arrest and their heart fails, I can't save the person on my own. I need a team to bring that person back to life. And it's similar here. We work as a team and we reap the benefits as a team.
Yeah. Thank you. That's such a great perspective, and I agree. And it's natural to feel uncertain about something new, but once you do your own research and understand the structure, it's easy to move forward with the confidence. So something else often worry about is whether they need prior experience to succeed. For me, financial accountant stepping into the digital space was completely new, and I had to learn everything as I went. So I'm curious to know, Doctor. So, did you have any previous experience in online business, or do you think it's necessary to have any previous experience to succeed in this journey?
Absolutely not, because I didn't have any experience in the online space before. Yes, I did a property business, but a lot of the people coming into this business have no sort of business experience, and that is good. You can learn from a fresh perspective and you can learn new things, but of course there's this learning process. There's nothing called get quick rich scheme. You have to learn before you earn. And how quickly can you earn? The quicker that you can learn. And I have to say, when people, there are people who are successful within 2 to 3 weeks of joining the business, they start making sales. I personally got my first sale in month 3, and I am happy with that, because as I've just mentioned, I was working 5 to 6 days a week, anything between 9 and 12 hours, and I had to work the business around it. And I think so I never compare my success with anyone else's, because it just leads to frustration, and you have to follow your own journey.
Yeah. Exactly. That's great to hear. Even for me, it took around 4 weeks to complete my training, because I was busy with my job, my kids, my little ones, and I was so busy. And I think a lot of people can relate that, especially when starting something new. It's encouraging to know that experience isn't always required. That's who is successful often come out with willingness to learn and adapt. And I firmly believe that if you have a right mindset, and if you are coachable, and if you have willingness to learn, you can absolutely build your own business and create the life you wanted. So now, as someone juggling so many roles, being a doctor, a wife, a mentor, and a coach. How do you manage your time? And I get asked this question a lot, especially by busy parents or professionals who feel overwhelmed. How do you find the time to manage your business on top of everything else? What tips you can share with others who feel they are already overwhelmed work, kids, and daily responsibilities?
Absolutely. So it's a common question which is asked because a lot of my teammates are doctors itself. So everyone is busy, and that's, I think I slightly touched upon it. How I worked was I didn't think I had to work 1.5 hours a day because I didn't have that time together. So what I used to do is pockets of time, maybe 10 minutes before I go into work, or initially, as I was saying, you have to learn before you earn. So as a GP, during the afternoon I have to do my paperwork, file in labs, do reports and things like that. So at that time I'm not actually patient facing, but during the lunch hour I'll do paperwork. So during that time I used to keep the training open and listen to the training. So actually I was multitasking that way. Yes, there will be parts in the training where you'll be like, no, I need to give full concentration. So what I used to write down is, okay, from minute this to minute that, I need to go back home and pay a bit more attention to that section of the training. And I used to. And once I get home, I take a bit of a break and do the training. The other thing is mindset change and change in routine. Previously, once I get back from home, I couldn't, sometimes, you lose the will to live after working that many hours. So you come back home and you just binge on Netflix or Prime. And that's what exactly I used to do. But then, I knew that habit is not going to make me financially free. So I had to make a conscious effort to tell myself, don't get me wrong, I still watch Prime and Netflix, but I prioritize my business, and when I know that I've done enough for the day, I might then watch it. So that's a big difference. So and on an average, statistics say people spend 2.5 hours on social media, and that is just scrolling and being entertained. And this is anybody, like even if you're busy, because what do we do when on our breaks we go on our phone and then look at Facebook, YouTube? So instead of that, I scroll with a purpose. I do my business in social media at that time, and that's a mindset change. And initially it is something that you must make a habit of, because at the end of the day, if you treat this business as a hobby, you will only get hobby results. If you treat this business as your plan A, you will get plan A results. If you treat this business as your life depends on it, you will get amazing results. So it all depends on you, really. And I think it's prioritizing the business. It's making a shift of the mindset about what are you willing to sacrifice that Netflix? Are you willing to sacrifice that holiday because you want to put into the business the time and money to grow your business? That's all a mindset shift. So initially, are you willing to, have that delayed gratification, that, okay, I am going to sacrifice my time this year so that from next year onwards I can enjoy those holidays, I can cut down my sessions and things like that. So that is kind of like the mindset that you should have. And we have lots of resources in our training, and we are with the right sort of people to encourage you to build that attitude. So that's why our program succeeds, and we have so many 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 figure digit, they earn in 7 digits even per month. And we're not talking about a year, we are talking about a month. We have people earning that much.
Yeah. Thank you, doctor. I love that. It's so true. And we all have same 24 hours, and it's really come down how we prioritize them. And if you are committed to your goals, and you will make it work. So I also want to touch on something that isn't talked about enough. The impact of this business has beyond financial success. Of course, earning and income is important, but I think the real magic lies on personal growth, freedom, and flexibility it brings. So let's talk talk about beyond the financial aspect, how has this business truly changed your life? Mhm.
When I tell people I'm an introvert, most people don't believe me. I'm an introvert. I don't like going on stage. I don't like going on, big meetings and talking and things like that. It's not my cup of tea. I feel very uncomfortable. So, but what I realized with the online space, yes, this probably is going to the masses out there. But for me, it feels like I'm just talking to another individual. So it's not that frightening for me compared to being in a class teaching a lot of people, or things like that, which I'm very uncomfortable with. And then there is this personal touch of coaching and mentorship and things like that. It's like one to one, or when you're on a Zoom, you do teach a bigger audience and things like that. But the thing is, initially it was a scary thing, but now I do this every week, and sometimes several times a week also. So in that sense, it's built my confidence, my personality. I am in a managerial role, so I'm more bold to talk up in meetings, give ideas, things like that. So it's my personal development is so big. And that's the thing about this business. You can transfer the skills you learn here into your workplace. For instance, during the pandemic, because I do teach medical students and other GPs, there was a video which I had to make during the pandemic, because obviously you can't see anyone. It was all online. And I was struggling to take a video and upload it and things like that. And I still remember I needing my daughter to kind of edit. And now I can do a video within 5 minutes, edit and upload. And again, those are type of things that will benefit even your workplace,
Yeah.
you know things like that. So the personal growth for me was immense, and also positivity, because you are with like-minded people who
Exactly.
will want to build you up,
Mhm.
encourage you. So no matter how bad things are, because life happens to everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Family bereavements and
Mhm.
things like that, or losses and things like that. But when you are surrounded by like-minded people, and when you have a team that depends on you, you build that really resilience, you build that emotional intelligence and things like that. So I was able to do all that within this very short period of time.
Thank you so much, Doctor. That's so inspiring. And it's amazing to see how this business can transform lives of so many ways. And for anyone watching, it's proof that if you are willingness to step out from your comfort zone, the reward can be incredible. So it's not just about money, but about the freedom, flexibility, and personal growth that comes with it. So we have the unique support and community that is hard to find elsewhere, and it's truly blessing, and having that kind of encouragement every step of the way is priceless. So finally, what the next question, what would you say to someone who is considering starting an online business? There are so many people out there wondering if it's the right choice for them. Let's start.
Yeah, the thing is this business the right choice for everyone? Probably not. So that's why there's different ways to make money. But my take on it would be, I've given you why it was a good fit for me, and why it's a good fit for busy professionals like myself. Now, you will never know whether this is the right fit unless you take the next step, which is watching our free webinar. So wherever you're watching this, whether it's in my page or in Chatu's page, just reach out to us. Okay. And it's a 90-minute free webinar where we will give you the basics of what we do. If it is something that interests you or you're intrigued, then just take the next step. And then there is a trial period. And if you're not happy during the trial period, you can always back out, and then and you're not going to lose any money. So that's what it is. And at the end of the day, you have to see, there are lots of people, there are doctors doing this business, there are, like, you're a financial analyst, and we have lawyers, we have police officers, we have nurses, and we have stay-at-home moms. So we have people from different parts of life doing this business. Now, will somebody like ourselves, professionals in the society, put our face out there if this was not real? No, I don't think so. Like I had I have a good job, and earning this decent money, and my reputation and integrity means a lot more than money. So for me, I would say I wouldn't put out my face like this if it was a bit of dodgy stuff, or if it didn't work, and if it wasn't changing people's life. So the next step is just take the step and figure out whether it's for you. And if it's not for you, you're not going to lose anything. At least you'll know, okay, this is not for me. I need to find another way to make money on the side. But what I can tell you, having a side hustle is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity, because you don't know how things will turn up. A sick relative, you facing health problems, or facing redundancies, or another pandemic, how is that going to affect your life? Do you have that buffer to say that even if you don't go into work, you have some means to actually to fund your lifestyle? If the answer is no, you need to start looking.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Susie. This has been such an inspiring conversation, and I'm so grateful you took the time to share your journey with us today. And to everyone watching, if this resonates with you and you are curious to learn more about starting your own digital business, feel free to reach out. We are always here to guide and support you. Thank you so much again. And this has truly been an inspiring conversation. And I'm so honored to have you had on my page today. And thank you everyone who's joining us today, and those who will be watching the replay. And I hope this story has inspired you to take the next step towards building your own digital business. Thank you again, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Chatu, and thank you so much for having me. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.